Jets Ward.
Jets. What is going on, Jet fans? And welcome back to another episode of the Jets Ward. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I got a fun one for you guys in this video. But first, if you have been here before, welcome back. You know I love having you guys here in the Jets Ward. It is a safe space for you, and I enjoy that you guys keep coming back for more NFL content. And if you are new here, welcome. Whether you're a Jets fan, a fan of another team, or just a casual NFL fan, you are always welcome here in the Jets Ward. It is a safe space for you. But guys, this might be a little premature. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Jets that could possibly be dealt before or at the NFL deadline, trade deadline. Now, you might be asking yourselves, it's only week 3. Why are we talking about that now? Well, the NFL trade deadline is, I believe, on November 4th at 4 p.m. That's the last chance for players to get traded. The reason I'm bringing it up is because the Jets have been making some trades already. Earlier in the offseason, they traded for Ja'Whaun Briggs, defensive tackle from Cleveland. They traded for Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle from Minnesota. And just the other day, they traded for cornerback from the Titans, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. So Muji's not afraid to make some deals at any point. So what I wanted to do for you guys is talk about a list of players that I think the Jets could definitely trade by the deadline, at the deadline or before it. Now, some of these players are going to be obvious. Some of these players you might not think Muji could get anything for, that they would rather be cut. And other ones are some big name players that you might not be happy to hear about. But first, getting into it, the first player that I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to start off with a softball one. It's Allen Lazard. Look, guys, he just doesn't do anything. I know this past weekend he had a touchdown, but he couldn't even make it look easy. He was juggling the ball around, and luckily they gave it to us, which could have easily been an incomplete pass, and the Jets would have lost right then and there. But Allen Lazard, since becoming a Jet, has not done anything. He's been injured a ton. He's had many penalties called on him, many drops. Drops has been a major issue since he's been here. He just doesn't look like he wants to be here at all. So I don't think there's a reason for keeping him. And coming up with the best case scenario, I think the Jets could at best get a 4th round pick for him. Maybe there's a team that still believes in him. Maybe there's a team that thinks he could still be good, that it's just the Jets that have ruined him. We'll see. At worst, I think a 6th round pick. He's got great size for a wide receiver. He's a solid blocker. And maybe in the right system, he could be a perfect fit. I don't know. But at best, I think the Jets could get a 4th rounder. At worst, a 6th rounder. And the best fits for him, obviously, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a big name that keeps getting brought up when it comes to Allen Lazard because guess who their quarterback is? Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers loves Allen Lazard. So I could definitely see that. And Pittsburgh needs some wide receiver help. Another team is Kansas City. They need wide receiver help as well, and they need more big-bodied receivers as well. Juju Smith-Schuster is always hurt, and when he's on the field, doesn't really give you that much. Hollywood Brown is a speedster. Xavier Worthy's coming back. He's a speedster. They don't have that big-bodied receiver that they could utilize, and that's a solid blocker as well that could help get the run game going. And Arizona, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., but as you guys are seeing tonight in the game, he hasn't been playing well. Actually dropped the pass that led to an interception. So it's they could definitely use another receiver as well to help out and maybe give Kyler Murray some more weapons. Could be just solid number 2, solid number 3 for them. We will see. But Allen Lazard, easy number 1. On this list could definitely be traded, and I do see it happening. The next one is Tyler Johnson. This one is a little bit more unlikely, but I think he's just not working out. He's been given opportunities. He's had some nice catches, but again, he had a beautiful ball thrown to him this past week and just completely dropped it. Wasn't even on the active 53-man roster at the start. The day before the season started, he was brought back up, but he was looked at as being put on the practice squad originally. And we were excited to see what he could do, but it's just not working out. And I get it's 3 games. So there's no reason to panic yet. Maybe things turn around and it clicks for him. But from what we're watching now, I could definitely see him being a trade candidate. At best, I think you can get a third for him. He's still young, has solid hands, solid route runner, it looks. He's just not getting the opportunity here. We'll see what happens with him. At worst, a 6th-round pick. If somebody doesn't have faith in him, I think they wouldn't be mind giving a late-round pick to have a number 2 receiver, a number 3 receiver. And again, similar teams, Kansas City and Pittsburgh, again, definitely could use another receiver to add some help to that room. And New England, I think, could definitely use his services. They have Stephon Diggs. They have Kyle Williams. They have all these weapons, but I think adding a 3rd receiver in there could definitely help out them as well. I know they have Booty over there, who's been very hit or miss, but he can go over there and help them as well. I see him being a fit in that Mike Vrabel offense. Now, continuing on. I got Michael Clemens, and I know most of you guys are being like, you're not going to get anything for him. And you're right. He's more likely going to get cut than traded. But at best, I think you can get a 6th rounder, at worst, a 7th rounder, or maybe a pick in next year's draft, a late round 2027 pick, just something. If you could get anything for Michael Clemens, that would be, Muji would be insane. It would be like when the Jets traded Blake Cashman, who was injured all the time, to the Houston Texans, and we got a couple picks for him. That would be like what we're going with here. Michael Clemens has been a disaster for the Jets, penalty machine, and Jets fans have been clamoring for him to get cut. But behind him on the depth chart, there's not really much. So that's why he sticks around. And this past week, he showed how bad he was against the Buccaneers by getting pulled in every time. He cannot set the edge. But how are we going to get these picks, or a pick? Well, maybe some teams will bite and think that they can turn him around. Jeff Ulbrich, defensive coordinator in Atlanta. Maybe they would like more edge rush help on the edge. And maybe Ulbrich working with him, starting him when he was the head coach of the Jets, interim head coach, maybe he liked what Michael Clemens brought to the table. So maybe they would be an option. San Francisco with Robert Saleh there. We knew Robert Saleh's fascination with this guy. Maybe he could bring him in, especially with Nick Bosa now out for the season, bring in some more help. Or Dallas. Our old defensive line coach is over there in Dallas right now. And who knows? Maybe they would like to bring some more strength onto that defensive line. Maybe he could fit there because that defensive line over there, that run defense, is putrid for the Dallas Cowboys. So I could definitely see these teams being a fit. Again, is it likely that he's going to get traded? No, but it would be amazing if he did. But most likely he's going to get cut, in my opinion. Now, continuing on. Number 4, Michael Carter II. This is one of the big surprises that I'm going to bring up. And the reason I think he could get traded is because of the trade for Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Michael Clemens has not looked good this year. He's getting beat. He's getting beat like a drum. That secondary overall has been very disappointing. Michael Clemens, I expected a lot more coming in as a nickel back. And he was one of the, if not the best nickel corner in the league. I know he's been dealing with some injuries, but even when he's on the field, he's not looking like himself. He's getting beat almost every other play, and it just doesn't look good right now. I don't know if he fits the system, but again, he's still a young player, and maybe in a different system could be very good. So best case scenario, I think the Jets could get a second round pick for him. He's still young and has shown flashes of greatness in the slot as a nickel cornerback. Worst, I think you get a 4th just because if people are nervous about how he's been playing and the injuries and everything. And again, some teams that I definitely see him going to, I could definitely see Robert Saleh pulling the trigger and trying to get him. I could definitely see Atlanta and Jeff Ulbrich as the defensive coordinator trying to go for this kid. They loved him in the system and really turned him into a fantastic cover corner, nickel cornerback. So they could have a fascination. And I think Carolina too. I think the Carolina's cornerbacks are very, very weak. So other than J.C. Horn, they really don't have anybody. So adding in Michael Carter, getting him a new fresh start in Carolina with a defense that hasn't been looking great so far. I know they just shut out the Falcons, but other than that, they have not looked good. Maybe he can go over and give a little bit of spark. Do they trade him? I don't know. The Jarvis Brownlee Jr. trade has me thinking it could happen now, because I think Jarvis Brownlee Jr. as a nickel could be more of what AG is looking for in that toughness than what Michael Carter brings, especially with how he's getting dinged up recently. But getting into the next one, I got Tony Adams. And Tony Adams has just not looked good. He's coming back from an injury, but even when he was playing, he did not look great. Last year he was benched. This year he has looked awful. Still a young player, but I just don't think he fits this system. I don't think he brings anything to this defense. If anything, he hurts the defense. So best I think you can get for him is a fourth, just because of his age, and he has shown flashes that he can play the position, but it's few and far between. And the worst, I think you can get a seventh for him. I think somebody would throw a late round pick at him. And again, the teams that I could see going for him, San Francisco with Robert Saleh. Philadelphia, I think, could use some more depth and safety as well. They already came out and said basically that they're not going to try to re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So maybe a Tony Adams trade could be in the works, possibly, for him to go over and be a backup, especially if Andrew Makuba gets hurt or something along the lines of that. And Miami's secondary is not great. They have Minkah Fitzpatrick, but if he goes down, Ashton Davis is there. He hasn't looked good. And they have a whole slew of defensive backs that you could throw in there. They've been banged up in the secondary. Maybe he can go to Miami and kind of help out that defense a little bit and maybe get a fresh start in there. Continuing on, we get Jeremy Ruckert. Mason Taylor hasn't looked great, but I think he's still trying to figure it out in the NFL. I think he's still figuring things out. Stone Smart, I would like to see more of. Jelani Woods, trading for him or picking him up off the practice squad, I think was a big move. I think the Jets need to incorporate him more. Jeremy Ruckert, I think he's the odd man out in this tight end room. He's a solid blocker. He had a solid week, first week. Second week, he had a touchdown, which was great against Buffalo in garbage time. But other than that, he hasn't looked great. So maybe a fourth for him for a tight end needy team. Worst is sixth. I think Miami could definitely use him. They have Darren Waller, but he's finally coming back, and his first game is going to be against the Jets. The tight ends aren't very good at depth anyway, so maybe he could be the number 2 tight end, or if Waller gets hurt again, be the number 1. Kansas City could definitely use another tight end. Travis Kelce, I don't think is long for the NFL. I think this might be his last year. And then they have Noah Gray, but then I think Jeremy Ruckert could come in as a solid blocking option for tight end for Kansas City and Washington. Zach Ertz ain't going to be there forever as well. And I think Jeremy Ruckert, if he learns behind a Zach Ertz, can become a solid utilized tight end in this league. So those are my 3 options for Jeremy Ruckert. I could definitely see him getting traded as well. I don't think he's going to get cut. I think he's going to be one of those trades that we just find out on the news or find out on Twitter or X that it happened and not hearing a peep beforehand. So Jeremy Ruckert is the one that could definitely get traded. Another one, Leonard Taylor III. He's fallen down this depth chart, guys. He gets in, but not as much. He's playing behind Quinnen. He's playing behind Harrison Phillips. He's playing behind Juwan Briggs. J.T. Faley's coming back. So Leonard Taylor III just keeps falling down this depth chart. And he's a young player. I would love to see him more on that field and playing more. But I don't know if the coaching staff really likes this kid. So does he really fit the system? We were expecting him to have a breakout season, but then why would the Jets trade for a Juwan Briggs? Why would they trade for a Harrison Phillips if they didn't trust Leonard Taylor III? Maybe you can get something. He's still young and has shown dominance on the defensive line. So you could get a third for him at best. At worst, a 6 because of the limited production that he has had. He's shown flashes, but again, it's very limited. And he's been playing on a bad Jets defense the past couple of years. So teams that I could definitely see him fitting in, I think the Dallas Cowboys would take a swing on him, especially if Kenny Clark gets hurt. So definitely could utilize him as coming in and being a solid anchor on that defensive line. New Orleans could always use some more beef on the defensive line as well. And Baltimore's run defense has been bad. And their defensive line has been getting manhandled in these games. So maybe Leonard Taylor III could give you a little bit more toughness on that defensive line and some more youth on that defensive line as well. Give them a spark. But Leonard Taylor III, again, I just don't think he fits the defense anymore, and he keeps falling further and further down the depth chart, especially now that Jay Tufele's coming back. Get into the last one. Hey, Breece Hall. Guys, if the Jets keep losing, and this is a lost season, the Jets have two solid running backs down the chart, in Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. Breece Hall, he had one good game so far, and that was the first game against Pittsburgh. The other games, the running game hasn't gotten going. And Breece Hall, I love Breece Hall. I know he's still young and everything. He's a fantastic receiver coming out of the backfield. He is a fantastic running back when he gets time and hits those holes. The problem is, for a rebuilding team that you want earlier draft picks, Breece Hall, there could be a running back needy team that is playoff team that could use a stud running back. And Breece Hall, if he's available, even though I know Muji and AG said he's not, if you're going to keep losing games and you're having a rough season, maybe trade off some of those assets to recoup some draft picks so that you can bring players in, your guys, because Muji and AG didn't draft this kid. All right. The last regime did. Maybe AG would want their own guys and Muji would want their own guys. Now, does it happen? I think if the season goes sideways, I understand it's only week 3 going into week 4. But the Jets play Miami Dolphins on Monday night. But Breece could be a very valuable chip to a lot of these teams. Dallas, I heard, was very interested in him. Chicago could definitely use another running back with DeAndre Swift over there. DeAndre Swift being the power guy, Breece being the guy coming out of the backfield, the shiftier guy. And Kansas City, they're in need of a running back too, since Isaiah Pacheco is still out. And Kareem Hunt hasn't really been getting it going either. So Breece Hall over in Kansas City could be deadly and could give the Chiefs another valuable weapon over there. But again, guys, these are all the players that I think the New York Jets could trade by the deadline. And I wouldn't be surprised. Some of them, Michael Carter II, I think that one's a challenging one because I think he's a very valuable chip on the defense, and teams would be very interested. It just makes it weird with the Jarvis Brownlee signing. Does it mean that Brandon Stevens is on a short leash after giving him that big contract? I don't know. AZ Thomas, you just drafted him too. Is he somebody you see that's going to be bright for this team? Sauce Gardner's still here. Like Quantez Stiggers. Could Michael Carter II be the odd man out? Possibly. Leonard Taylor III, he keeps falling down the depth chart. I wouldn't be happy about them trading him because I do like him, but we have a lot of depth at the defensive tackle spot right now, especially with Tufele coming back. So right now, these are the players that I think the Jets could definitely trade by the deadline. Let me know some players that you think the Jets could possibly trade at the deadline. And if you're not a Jets fan, let me know what players you think your team could definitely trade by the deadline and where you think they best fit. Where do you think they're going to go? Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. Hit that bell as well for any notifications of when I upload videos. And again, thank you so much for joining me in the JETS Jets Ward. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.